You're listening to the Mopcast Network.
Welcome to the Cult Movie Cantina. This podcast takes a look at our favorite cult films, introducing them to someone who hasn't seen them.
That's me.
Pairs them with a great alcoholic beverage. She's missing today. She's living her best life.
Look for her. She's on milk jugs. We cannot find her. If you see her, I'm just kidding. She's not lost. Please don't. Everybody calm down.
Okay, first of all, they never put it on milk jugs.
Milk cartons?
Cartons.
Not bad. Well, we use jugs now. They should update it.
Well, they haven't done that for years.
They should. Everybody still uses milk.
Right.
Start sticking them on like the alternative milk products because those are always in cartons.
Okay, so funny enough.
Soy, almond.
So funny enough, well, sadly, not funny at all, they didn't work.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't. They proved not to be a good method to finding lost and missing children.
What is a good method?
Not having your kids lost or missing.
Okay, well, obviously, Scotty. I wonder if they put them on beer bottles.
Well, there was a whole thing in the 80s about stranger danger. So, like in the 70s, you could just hang out with anybody, and it wasn't shady. And then there was kind of like a maybe the 60s. There was a satanic panic that happened in the late 60s and throughout the 70s and went through the 80s. And part of the satanic panic, there was stranger danger come up. You can't leave your kids with anybody because they're going to go take them off and murder them or have some orgy with them.
Well, naturally.
Or go do something with the devil.
What else would you do with kids?
And so
devil worship.
But so that's how because of the quote unquote sheer number of missing children, they put them on milk cartons. Well, it turns out in most cases there's somebody they know. So it's an uncle or an aunt or a cousin or whatever, somebody or neighbor. So it's not it's rare that the random child just gets kidnapped in America by Stranger 5,
Right.
So
exactly.
So it just didn't work out. And I say that as we lead into this week, we watched the 1984 comedy horror Gremlins, which has nothing to do with missing children.
It doesn't. No, it does. I was trying to connect that, and I was like, nope. There weren't really any kids missing.
Actually,
there weren't really anybody in the town out anywhere.
No, not at all.
Everything was closed down.
I just got through listening to a podcast about the satanic panic. That's why it's fresh on my brain. It's very weird.
I would believe it if you didn't. You're like a Rain Man of knowledge.
I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by
Jestina, the Jellicle Jester.
Or she who knows no
Jestina,
movies.
the Jellicle Jester. Justina. It's fun if you say it like that. Do it. You have to move your shoulders.
She who knows no movies. She who like that.
No,
she
stop it.
Knows no movies.
Quit.
She don't know movies.
I'm not doing it again. I'm not playing this game anymore. Although you got the spirit fingers with it, and that was kind of great.
She's like an admiral who knows no movies.
Okay, fair point. I am. You're right.
So, just a quick shout out. Movember is over, and thanks to you guys, you helped Stephanie raise over $1,700.
That's great.
And that was awesome. So shout out to all
Weren't
of
they
you.
like the top third in the nation?
I think they were. I didn't hear. I didn't get to go to the thing Friday because I was sick.
I didn't either. I literally passed out.
Oh,
I was out.
I should have renamed myself again because I'm currently again keeper of the sarcoidosis. I had an attack last week and it sucked. So people out there suffering with this thing, I understand. I feel you.
Literally on the inside.
You'll hear me. I was purring. I was wheezing so bad I was like a cat. My chest. I was purring. It was terrible. It was terrible.
He was trying to be the Jellicle Jester. That's my title, Scotty.
Yes, ma'am.
Be your own person.
We have an action-packed show for you, but first.
Oh, that's me. I have lots of lines, guys. Prepare. If you would like to follow us, you can find us on any fine podcast app, including Spotify, by searching for the Mopcast Network. You can find us on YouTube at Mopcast Network, where we have our podcasts, movie reviews, mashups, and short films waiting for you to enjoy. Subscribe and set the alert so you don't miss a thing. We're also now on BitChute, right?
There you go.
Okay. I hesitated for a second. As well, look for the Scotty White Company to find us there. I might keep going. If you want to find out more about the Cult Movie Cantina, you can join us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/cultmoviecantina. There you can find out the latest movie news, see trailers, play games such as Wrong Title Only and Caption This, talk to other cultists, find out when we'll be in your town. That sounds so much like we're in a drawing. Like, pick us out of a gumball machine. Like, we're going all the way to North Carolina next week. We are. If you turn on your podcast apps, we will be in North Carolina next week. Any Hoosers, speaking of being in your town, we have a table at Is it SonoCon?
SonoCon, yeah.
SonoCon.
You and I
said it really
will be
fast.
there.
SonoCon,
Yeah.
December 14th through 15th. I will be there the 14th. So if you're going to go one of the 2 days,
Go Saturday, because it's Saturday.
go Saturday, because I'll be there. And depending on the floors, I might be skating, because I'm always skating. Where you can find, where you can get our cool swag and say hi. It's always nice to say hi. You shouldn't just walk by. Like, say hi. We're also working on our 2020 schedule. So stay tuned. We might be in your town again.
I know.
Gumball machine.
I know for a fact we'll be at Pensacon. We won't be tabling, but you'll see us at Pensacon.
Yeah, you will.
And I know for a fact that we have a table at Huntsville Pop Expo in April, so we'll be there. And so
Pensacon's February.
last weekend of February, yeah.
Yep. Okay. And then, what was that last one?
The Huntsville Pop Expo.
That's what it is. Can we all dress like pop characters?
Well, like, what's a pop character?
Like a Funko Pop, right? Is that what we're talking about? Is it Funko Pop?
No, it's like pop culture.
Well, it's about to be Funko Pop. You're welcome.
They are a lot.
I'm going to be dressed like a Funko Pop.
Oh, all right.
And that's in April?
That's in April, yeah. I think she writes this down every week we say
I
this.
do. I need to actually put it in my... I have a 2020 planner.
Ooh.
Thanks to Derby Wife.
All
She
right.
takes care of me. Oh, good. It had a Cheeto in it.
Her 2020
the other
planner
one.
had a Cheeto in it. That's funny.
We were eating them on the way here. Okay, let's see. February.
Again, living our best lives.
Yeah, we are. They're the jalapeno ones. Jalapeno. Okay. So last weekend in February is the 28th and 29th and the 1st of March. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Pensacon.
We have put in to do a live cult movie cantina there. I have picked the movie if we get chosen, and there will be cool swag for the movie. So as we get sooner and closer. But I will hint that it is one of the actors who are in the movie that we are doing is at Pensacon. So
It's usually done that way.
that's what we do.
That's weird. When in April? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
Come on, Rayman.
I'm sorry. It's April. Today is
fine.
December. I don't.
I wrote my first thing in my planner.
Woohoo!
We lost a Cheeto though. Cheeto down. Cheeto down.
All right. So we watched Gremlins 1984. We're going to listen to the trailer now.
Steven Spielberg presents Gremlins. They're clever. They're mischievous. They'll get into the kitchen, the basement, the garage. They'll get into anything. And once they get in,
There's a real gremlin in my can!
you're in for it. Gremlins. They'll be expecting you at a special sneak preview Saturday, May 19th. Directed by Joe Dante. Rated PG.
Gremlins was in 1984, directed by Joe Dante.
Joe Dante.
Joe Dante.
Dante of the Joes.
Joe Dante most famously directed The Howling.
Yeah, he did.
It's a werewolf movie.
Cool.
And some
I've
other
totally
cool
saw that.
stuff. It's written by Chris Columbus.
Not the one that pretended to explore America.
No, but he's a Chris Columbus that you should know.
Oh, gosh. Okay, don't tell me. Go through the Chris's. Well, we've got Captain America.
Okay. Okay. This Chris is not an actor. This Chris is a writer-director, and he's a writer-director. He's directed something close to your heart.
Are we talking about The Greatest Showman?
No.
Little Mermaid?
Oh.
Psych?
No. Jesus, really? I thought maybe I was wrong with what's close to your heart.
Okay, hold on. I like the Jurassic World movies because I'm thinking about Chris Evans right now. No, not Chris Evans. Chris Pratt. So many Chris's. Oh, my goodness.
I'm actually kind of disappointed.
I am a little disappointed.
But I'm not sure if I'm disappointed in myself
Don't
or
tell
you.
me. Don't tell me. I want to figure it out, okay? Hang on. It's a movie.
Yes.
It's not a TV show?
Yeah, it's a movie. I will tell you that.
It's a movie. Is it a kid's movie or an adult movie?
People of both ages enjoy it.
That's a loaded question. Answer. Do you know what it is? Near and dear to my heart. Okay, so I've got The Little Mermaid was my favorite. Harry Potter.
Yes. He directed the first two Harry
Okay,
Potter
in
films.
fairness, because I am that person, I care much more about the books than the movies. So when you say my favorite movies, I don't think Harry Potter.
I just said something dear to your heart.
You did.
Harry Potter
You
is very
did.
dear to your heart.
It is. You're right. I just don't think of it in context of movies very much.
Yeah, he directed Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets.
Okay. Okay, cool.
He also wrote and directed Home Alone.
I have seen the first one of those.
Yeah,
Aren't there multiples?
Yeah, there's 3.
Because they continually lose their kids. Like, learn the first time. It's fine.
He directed Home Alone.
I mean, it's
Actually,
not fine.
there's a really good documentary on Netflix about the movies that made us, and one of them is Home Alone. I watched the Dirty Dancing episode and the Home Alone episode, and the Home Alone episode's both of them are great, but the Home Alone episode's fantastic. I'm not a fan of that movie. It's not one of my favorites. It's a good movie. It's what it's a great little.
Like,
holiday.
I have no desire to watch it again,
Right,
so I get it.
Right, but watching how they made it, and they built the entire house in a gym.
Really?
So the soundstage was inside a school gym. They used an old school as offices and stuff. So it's
That's
very
cool.
It's very cool.
That is cool. That's a good idea.
Chris Columbus also wrote.
I wonder if it was haunted. We should do some research into this. I am obviously in the need for research. This is like the third thing I brought up in 2 hours.
It's like, well, you're not busy enough.
Well, I know. Like, what was something else? Do you remember? Dang it! I was gonna research it. Weather. One of it was about the weather. So it's like 70 today, and I have a Facebook memory from like years ago where I had screenshotted the weather, and it was like 70 a few years ago. So we've hit this like pocket of 70s. So I was curious. I was like, I wonder how often it hits 70 in the middle of December in the South, or if that's a new thing, or if that's like a recurring thing. We just get this pocket of 70s. I was like, I need to do some research on that. I need to look it up and do some detailed information gathering.
Live your best life.
Extrapolate some data.
Live your best
life. Write a
life.
paper. Present it to no one.
Go you.
But why though? I can't remember what the other one was. That's going to bother me because I really wanted to know. Dang it.
You know what you do? You should research on the research that you were planning on doing.
No, there was something I wanted to research before that. Anyway, it'll come to me. Maybe it won't.
Can I continue?
I'm so sorry. Yes, please continue.
Movie stars Zach Galligan as Billy, Phoebe Cates as Kate, Hoyt Axton as Billy's dad, Randall. It also features Frances Lee McCain as Lynn, his mom, Billy's mom. Polly Holiday as Ruby Deagle. Glenn Turman as Roy Hansen. Judge Reinhold as Gerald. Corey Feldman as Pete. Dick Miller, the great, amazing Dick Miller, as Murray Futterman. This is the second Dick Miller movie this month we've talked about.
You just said a lot of names. I don't know any of them, and I'm really lost.
Jackie Joseph as Sheila Futterman, and Jonathan Banks as Deputy Brent. I only bring up Jonathan Banks because he's Mike in Breaking Bad. And this was one of his earlier roles. He didn't really say much.
There was a guy in the movie that I recognized from the Santa Claus. He was the new dad from the kid.
So who was he in the movie?
No idea. He showed up in the background a couple of times. I don't remember. Maybe he was a detective. Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
I've not seen the Santa Claus, so.
You haven't seen the Santa with what's his face? Was it
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen?
Yeah, Tim Allen.
It's fantastic. I do like the Santa Claus. I could watch that again. I like all of them.
Next year. We'll put it on next year's list.
They might be ridiculous, but I could watch them over and over again. I like the Santa Claus.
Nothing wrong.
Anyway, so they get divorced, and then he becomes Santa Claus because Santa Claus. Oh, I'm not going to tell you. But anyway, the guy in this film gets married to the wife, the ex-wife of the kid. I'm over it.
I kind of want to look it up now. The Santa Claus. Because I'm trying to figure out who's in Gremlins.
Like, he's taller. He wore like a tan jacket in the movie, and he just kind of walked by. I don't think he was a teacher. I just remember him like being in like he didn't even have a big role.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I recognized his face and I went, "Oh, I know you from the Santa Claus." Christmas movies. He must like Christmas movies.
Must like them. Brothers and sisters, let's gather round for the sermon.
Preach it.
Meet Randall Peltzer.
Yes, please.
He's a struggling inventor who visits a Chinatown antique store in hopes of finding a Christmas present for his son, Billy. In the store, Randall encounters a small furry creature called a mogwai. The owner refuses to sell the creature to Randall. However, his grandkid's like, we're broke, and I need to sell you this mogwai. So he does. And then he gives him a warning. There are 3 important rules that must never be broken. Jestina, what are the rules?
So you can't get them wet. I don't know if this is the right order, by the way. You can't get them wet. They don't like sunlight. They don't like light. So keep it dark. Keep it dry. Keep it dark. And then don't feed them after midnight, which I was always curious about. When does that go away? Like, what time of the day can you start feeding them? Like, after midnight till when?
Like, it's because technically it's always after midnight.
Right. They wake up at 4 a.m. and they're starving, and you're like, I don't. Wait till 6? Do you see the sunlight? No, not yet. I don't. Like, when does that end? That's never clear.
It is not.
They did not clarify.
In fact, there's a whole bit.
Do some research on that.
So there's a sequel to this movie.
Okay.
Called Gremlins 2: The New Batch.
So, no, that would be a spoiler for the end. We're not to it yet. Something came out of that, didn't it? At the end,
No.
Something came out of that.
No.
Oh, poor little Gizmo gets wet again, doesn't he?
He does.
Oh, it's really hard to stay away from water. Like, what if there's a random rainstorm?
Right.
Or a pipe bursts in the house. Poor guy.
In my research for this episode, something I saw this movie in the theaters.
That's cute.
I was 84. I was 6. It was before my 7th birthday. I saw it at 6 years old. I remember seeing it at 6 years old.
Well, yeah, it's probably like scary at 6.
No, not for me. I loved it. See, my mother raised me on horror films. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
So I was
I wonder if Penny would be freaked out by it.
probably.
Probably.
But you could show it to all the kids as a Christmas movie.
Okay. Callie would probably like it.
Gosh, Callie like it.
Callie's a quirky fellow.
Where was I? So we know the 3 rules.
Yes.
So Randall returns home to Kingston Falls, where he gives the mogwai to Billy as a pet. Billy works in a local bank where he fears his dog Barney will be captured and killed by the elderly misery Miss Deagle.
Yeah, this movie started and it was The Wizard of Oz, by the way.
It's very much Wizard of Oz.
She's like, where's your dog? Give me your dog.
It's a very good Mrs. Deagle.
I don't know. I was like, this is The Wizard of Oz. Like, who no one said it's The Wizard of Oz.
Randall names the mogwai Gizmo, and Billy makes sure to treat him well. When Billy's friend Pete spills a glass of water on Gizmo, 5 more mogwai spawn from his back. And more troublemaking, sort of led by an aggressive stripe. He has a white stripe through his head, like a mohawk.
It's a ticking time bomb. It's fine.
Sorry, my papers are out of order.
You need to number them. Do you need me to number them for you?
No, I just accidentally printed them where they were back in,
Front and back?
front and back.
Conserving paper. I feel it. Meanwhile, at work, we're just wasting office supplies to try to decorate our department.
That feels like it. I think I'm missing a page. Whatever. I'll just do this without the. I'll just do it like old school.
We got this. We don't need that. I'll tell you how the movie goes. You do it. And I do it. We got this.
All right. So
he gave him the pet.
So let's back up. If we're gonna do it right, let's do it right.
Okay, let's do this.
So we meet Billy. Billy works at a bank. Mm-hmm. He's worried about his dog because apparently Barney screwed up Mrs. Deagle's snowman.
Right, which looked like it was made of ceramic.
Right, like why would you put that out there, Mrs.
Right?
Deagle? That's stupid.
Like it fell off and then shattered. Not like bounced or broke, shattered.
And so, he kept Barney like in the bank, and that would cause trouble.
Isn't that weird to think? Like, I worked in a bank. I can't even imagine sneaking a dog into the bank.
No, me neither.
And back there, they were like, it's okay, I have a hook under here. You're going to be fine. I'm going to put you on a hook. You're good.
The dog's like, okay, whatever. And then shenanigans. Also at the bank is a lovely lady named Kate, and Billy's all goo over Kate.
Did you see those bangs?
She had bitchin' 80s bangs.
Yeah, she did. I bet she wore shoulder pads too.
At 6, I had the biggest crush on Phoebe Cates.
Oh.
And see, I saw her in this before. I saw her in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where she's topless. But yeah.
So is that like a mall shopping movie?
There's mall stuff in it.
90s?
80s.
Okay, cool. Continue.
All right, so Billy's having the bad day. He goes home. His dad shows up and says, I got your Christmas present, but we got to open it now because, it will die.
Don't shake it.
Don't shake it. So he gives him the box, and he opens it up, and the cute little Mogwai shows up. And
listen, he's adorable.
He is adorable.
He's so cute. He's my favorite character in this whole movie.
And so, and they tell him the rules. Don't get them wet. Sunlight will kill it, and whatever you do, don't feed it after midnight.
So I just want to recap on that a little bit. So when he gets it from the China store place, right? Mm-hmm. So that guy is kind of nonchalant about the rules.
Right.
Like he's serious, but he's like, hey, these are the rules.
He's like a 10-year-old boy.
Wait, no. Like whoever sold him in the store. Was it a boy that did it?
Yeah, the boy sold is the grandson.
All I remember is they were very nonchalant about it. So then the dad gives it to the kid. And he was so intense when he told him.
Right.
I was like, what changed the intensity for you? Because if you're told nonchalantly and then you take it to your kid and you're like, listen to these rules, they're serious. But you were told nonchalantly. Like, how do you know they're that serious? You calm down. A little kid told you. You don't know.
Right.
It was intense. Anyway, continue.
And so we get to see some things for Gizmo that we see that he doesn't like bright light. He gets knocked off a counter and hurts his head. And so they have to bandage his head, and they take him to the bathroom to do that, and they have to lower the light because Gizmo now talks.
Kinda. He's so cute.
So do you know who did the voice?
Who?
Howie Mandel.
The guy that does the Deal or No Deal?
Yep.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yep. He was he's still a stand-up comedian, but he was a stand-up back then. He was on the show called St. Elsewhere, and he did funny voices, and so they hired him to do this. I've got some trivia about it later on, but yeah.
Okay.
Howie Mandel did all the Gizmo.
Like, I want to watch him doing it.
I think there are some YouTube videos you could watch him do Gizmo.
I'll have to look into that. Do some research.
So basically, the next day, Billy's little friend shows up. This is weird. Billy's like what, 24?
I don't know, because here's the thing: like, they look like children, but they act like adults in the movie. Like they have a bank job. And
Right. So I'm convinced that Billy is supporting his family.
Yeah, I see that because his dad is an inventor.
And I bet his dad gets like every now and then gets like a good deal on something. Or
listen, I'm gonna need that bank job to take care of that whole house and family.
Right.
Like as a kid.
Right.
Yes, please.
So he's not in high school. He's past got that.
Yeah, he's not in high school because they don't go to school.
But apparently he's friend with like a 10-year-old boy who dresses like a tree. I
miss that. Not gonna lie, I kind of fell asleep in the middle. I was really tired.
So Corey Feldman's character is his dad sells Christmas trees. So,
oh no, I do remember that.
And so he dresses
because he was adorable. Because then he started walking.
Yeah, he's dressed like a tree.
Oh goodness,
he's dressed like a tree, and so he's up in Billy's bitchin' attic room.
I remember that. That's so cute.
I always wanted an attic room when I was a little kid.
I did too. Mackenzie does too. She's asked for it. I was like, baby, you can't get into our attic without like taking the stairs that fold down in my bedroom, and there's no way to walk.
And it's hot.
And it's hot or really cold.
Right.
But there's no in between.
Right. Yeah, this is what is called
At one point
miserable.
we had bats up there. You don't need to be up there. They're not up there anymore. We got rid of them.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, the mosquitoes came back really bad.
So during this, Billy's all like, "Look at my Gizmo. It's freaking awesome." And the kid's like, "I don't care. I'm going to read your comic books." Gizmo's been watching TV too, so he's watching some old Clark Gable movie, racing movie. That comes up later. And Billy's an artist, and his art supplies gets knocked over, and Gizmo gets wet from the water from the paintbrushes.
So easy.
And then out pop from his back. He's in miserable pain too. It's agony. That poor little Malguai doesn't look like he's doing well.
Well, he's giving birth from his back.
Right, and so he
guy.
pops out 5 little fuzz balls that grow into 5 other Mogwai.
Is it always 5?
No.
Okay.
And don't ask me why there was 5.
Thank you for knowing the answer, because I would feel like I'd have to do research on that.
No, it's not always 5, and especially in the other films. The other film. Of course, it's not always 5, because at the end of this one, when Stripe jumps into the spoiler alert, when he jumps into the pool, they made more than 5.
Well, right, but he was in there for a while. Like if he was just doing like 5 batches at a time,
right?
You know.
So now he's got 5, and they're all assholes.
See, I think this is the part I missed.
So they're all just terrible.
Because I don't remember them ever being like Gizmo.
Right.
They were always like.
So they were all
evil.
Mogwai. Yeah. So they were all Mogwai at first, and Gizmo's like, he's like sleeping in the bed with Billy and being all. He's like the cool family pet, and they keep the other ones like in a box, and they're like, we don't know what to do with these things, and Randall's like, maybe we could sell them, but they turned out to be terrible. They strung up Barney and a bunch of Christmas lights.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so they strung him up in a bunch of, and had to get him down. They're just awful. And then he gives one to his high school science teacher.
Oh, I do remember that.
And to kind of investigate, like, what is this thing?
Right.
Because that's what I would do.
And then he showed him. He got him wet again, and more came out.
Yeah, another one came out, and they both kind of hung out. They're so cute together. And so that was their 6th one that popped up. I forgot about that one.
Mm-hmm.
So he keeps one and goes to study it. That does not work out for him. So the Mogwai, basically they're freaking out one night and they're hungry, and Billy checks the clock and is like, well, it's not after midnight yet, so I'll feed you. And so he feeds them chicken, and then he wakes up the next morning and they're all like cocoons, all except Gizmo, who didn't eat, and all these little cocoons. And he finds out that the Gremlins with the Mogwai, they cut his alarm clock
so that it wasn't. Oh my gosh!
So it was after midnight, and so they ate after midnight, and now they're all on these cocoons.
Right.
And like he shows his mom's like, look at these creepy cocoons, and if I showed my mother like creepy cocoons, she wouldn't be nearly cool about it.
Well, listen, her husband's an inventor that makes crazy stuff all the time.
That doesn't work.
So it's like, look at these cocoons. She's like, cool. What is that gonna do? Is it gonna make some bread for me or something? Like, I don't understand. She's probably used to the weird.
It's like, why don't we just clean it and get it out of the house? I don't. No, we're gonna keep these here and see what happens. So he goes to work and whatever. He goes and does his thing. In the school, the teacher gets blood samples from the Mogwai, which makes him mad. But he steals a candy bar from his pocket and he eats it after midnight. And he ends
Do they know what happens to them after midnight?
I think they do. It's not 100%, but I'm pretty sure they're aware. They seem like they're aware.
Because they're tricking them into feeding them after midnight.
To me, it looks like all of them, with the exception of Gizmo, wants to be this creature that is going to turn into the gremlin itself. They're all like, okay, we're cute and fuzzy, but we're all also assholes, and we'll be the best asshole if we are. Yeah. So I think that's where that's going. So the cocoons hatch. The gremlins pop up. They're reptilians, scaly. They got claws and teeth. They're mega assholes.
And they look how they act now.
Right. And so they terrorize Billy's mom.
Who does a great job, by the way.
She blows one up in a microwave.
All of the people getting attacked before that, they just like cower, and then she gets in, she grabs a knife. I'm like, get it. She attacks her Christmas tree.
Right.
Get it, girl.
She blows one up in a microwave, which I think is awesome.
And she blends one in a big open bowl.
Blender. Yeah, she blends one in the blender. She takes out most of like the original 5.
Yeah.
And Stripe's there, and we know
except for what's his nuts. Yeah.
Stripe is there. We know Stripe because he still has the white stripe on his head. So because the gremlins are hairless, and so it gets dark. The gremlins go on this crazy attack of the city. Stripe jumps in Billy and Gizmo track down Stripe at a YMCA. That doesn't go well. Stripe jumps into a pool, makes a bunch of gremlins. Mm-hmm. The bunch of gremlins go attack the town. They attack everybody. They
come out marching.
Right. The Futtermans. They kill Mrs. Deagle and her
send her up that stair thing.
Her stair chairs. They got her.
How did they make it go so fast?
So Mr. Futterman, the drunk guy, says that he knows gremlins from World War II, that the Japanese would stick them in the planes to screw with their planes. Maybe they do that. Maybe they have some sort of infinity of doing that kind of stuff. We don't know, but it's an interesting kind of crazy thing.
So we need a prequel.
Right.
We need a prequel Gremlins.
We may actually be getting one.
Do it, Hollywood.
So Billy and Gizmo have to stop Stripe and the rest of the Gremlins, and they get with Phoebe Cates. They save her at the bar that she works at.
That's the other thing. It's like the child is running the bar,
right? And
she was like, "I'll make you whatever shots you want. Just don't kill me."
Right. I just like
why is the kid at the bar?
All the Gremlins are just hanging out the bar. That's what I thought. I thought that was funny.
They were living their best life. They went from like the bar to the candy shop to the movie theater.
And so that's what they do. They end up in the movie theater, and so their plan is to Billy's plan is to set the gas on fire and blow up to ignite the gas, the natural gas that they use for heating, and blow up the movie theater, which he does, with the exception of Stripe, who goes out to get more candy. They lured him on there to watch Snow White. And they're all watching Snow White, enjoying Snow White and stuff drawers. Stripe goes out to go get candy, but the whole place blows up, and he's like, "Oh crap!" And so it goes into their little Kmart and calls us.
There were so many things in that department store.
Right.
Like every area he walked into, I was like, "That's a different store. That can't be the same place." Okay. It's not the same.
So Billy and Gizmo goes after him. There are chainsaws involved and tossed saw blades and all kinds of other crazy things. And
the gun, like the dude can shoot a gun so well.
And talk, and he's like...
Yeah, he talks really well too.
And Gizmo decides to be a hero, and he gets a Barbie car that runs magic on magic.
No, it's so cute.
And
he had the controller. He had the remote controller in there. Those little thumbs.
So Stripe goes, really hits like Billy with a crossbow, and really wounds the boy, and ends up going to the garden center where there's fountains, and that's how he's going to make more gremlins. So he's put his finger in the fountain and making more gremlins, or trying to make more gremlins. Gizmo comes flying in his car and hits the shades on the light, because suddenly dawn has happened and the sunlight kills Stripe.
So doesn't it feel like his gremlin should have grown faster? It grew faster throughout the whole movie. Like they were pretty quick. But in that moment it was like, no, they got to grow this time.
Maybe so. I don't know.
Maybe I was going to say the little bit of water he had, but one of the furry things, he just dropped some water on it.
Maybe it's different when they're reptile. I don't see.
Maybe
there's a lot of unanswered questions from this, which is that they never address, even in the sequel. And we'll talk a little bit about the sequel. I want to do the sequel on the show, so I don't want to get too far into it, but I do want to do the Gremlins 2 because it is balls to the wall ridiculous compared to the like. Gremlins is a wonderful little film that's compact and interesting, and it's kind of fun for most ages, and it's got a little bit for everyone. Gremlins 2 was like, oh, we're making a parody of that, and it's with all the original cast and the like Joe Dante. They're all like, we're just gonna make fun of that stupid movie we made.
Oh, is Gizmo in it?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Billy and Kate.
Gizmo's so cute.
Basically, in a nutshell, the Gremlins end up in New York and run amok.
That's cool.
So
there's lots of places to hide in New York.
Well, they contain them in one building, and so it's like this guy who's like a Ted Turner, runs like CNN, and he's got his own little CNN company in this one building, and so they run amok in the building. I'm spoiling the whole damn movie, so when I ask you about, you won't remember.
Whoa! I'll make arm notes.
You're gonna make arm notes? Yeah, I see you have arm notes now.
Yes, I do.
But
I won't remember.
Gremlins 2, there's a genetics lab, and so they start making genetically altered gremlins.
Oh gosh!
There's a bat one, and a vegetable one, and a spider.
A vegetable one.
A vegetable.
Is it a carrot?
He's got carrots. And he's got vegetable all over his vegetable head. He's got all kinds of stuff.
Oh, like a fruit basket with vegetables.
Right. There's a spider.
Spider would be terrifying.
And then a woman, and a.
Okay.
And
it's like a Smurfette.
Like a Smurfette, and then there's
just the one.
There's a brainy one who talks well. I'm going to put this in the show notes, and I'll show you this afterwards. There's an amazing Key and Peele skit about the making of Gremlins 2.
I love Key and Peele.
I'll have to share. I'll share with you off air, but I will put it in the show notes for everybody else. So, yay, everyone! The day is safe. Stripe is dead. No one's going to. No one apparently
because it's a Wizard of Oz.
Right. Also, no one asks any questions.
Well, there was like a news report just like, so things were crazy. Now it's peaceful again. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And so the old Chinese guy shows up and is like, I got to get my Mogwai back.
So I do like, he appears and I was like, how the fuck did he get in there? And then the door's left open. I was like, well done. Like, it's the little things that you don't think about when you're filming it, but they left the door open. Thank you.
It's like, how do you know about it? Well, it's on the news.
Well, it's confusing how he knows about it, but the way that he gets him is like they discussed it, where he said, okay, I'm coming to get it back.
Right.
Like they knew the box was ready. Everybody was ready for him to leave.
Right.
I mean, not everybody.
And Gizmo was kind of happy to see the old dude. So.
I mean, he was, because they talk their own special language.
Right. It's cute, right?
It's fine. You put him in a box. Nobody puts Gizmo in a box.
Apparently lots of people put Gizmo in the box.
I guess. He should be in a backpack where he belongs.
So that was our sermon. Our libation, we'll do the libation at the cult meeting. So
okay.
So we'll save it for Stephanie for them. I have some apocrypha for you.
Yes, please.
So the story of Gremlins was conceived by Chris Columbus. As Columbus explained, his inspiration came from his loft at night, where he what sounded like a platoon of mice would come around, and he'd hear them skittering around in the blackness, and it was really creepy. Then he wrote the original screenplay as a spec script to show potential employers that he had writing abilities. So for those who don't know what a spec script is, new writers, potential writers, or if you're interested in writing, write a spec script on something you know or something you think is interesting, and that's how you get an agent. You pass it around, and they think it's interesting. They'll hire you because they think they know you can write. It's basically, look, here's a sample. So you write just a script that you don't expect to ever get produced. In television, you usually write shows about shows that already exist.
So you write the whole thing?
Mm-hmm. You write the whole script. I've got 3 or 4 spec scripts. One on Justified. I have a Rick and Morty spec script. I got.
What when you do it off of things that already exist already? I don't understand.
So like Rick and Morty's a thing.
Okay.
So I didn't invent it.
Right.
It's a show.
But why do you write it if it already...
Because an agent already knows about it, and so they know I can write. So in television, you typically write in groups or as a group.
Right.
Consensual ideas in groups. And you just want someone you know who can write.
Okay, so you're just like synopsising?
Yeah. No. You're writing the whole script. So it's like I'm just writing a new script for a new story.
So you're using the same characters and storyline,
right.
But you're making like a pop-up episode or something.
Yeah, like my own episode based on.
Okay, that makes sense. I gotcha.
Spec scripts are like glorified fan fiction.
Okay.
That gets you work.
That gets you work potentially, hopefully.
Right.
If it's good enough.
Well, I end up doing all this stuff. So I've got spec scripts in case anyone asks, but I end up just doing this. The story wasn't intended to be filmed until Steven Spielberg took interest into it, and he looked at it and he's like, "Well, we'll just buy it." And so, because he thought it was the most original thing he'd ever heard of, so he bought it. So he bought the spec script to shoot. The script went through various drafts before the shooting script was finalized. The first version was much darker. Various scenes were cut, including the one which portrayed Billy's mother dying in her struggle with the Gremlins, with her head being thrown down the stairs when Billy arrives.
Oh, shit.
Joe Dante later explained the scene made the film darker than he wanted. There are also scenes where the Gremlins ate Billy's dog, a scene where the Gremlins attacked a McDonald's eating customers instead of burgers, and also instead of Stripe being a Mogwai who became a Gremlin, the original story was there was no Mogwai named Stripe, rather than Gizmo was supposed to transform into the Gremlin. Spielberg overruled the plot element as he felt that Gizmo was cute and the audiences would want him to be present throughout the entire film.
Factual. Yep.
So
it'd be striped. It's so goddamn cute. You just stay in a little Barbie car. So cool.
We glanced. I didn't talk about this, but I want to go back from the sermon. Something I skipped on purpose for this one. So there's a point where Billy and Kate are talking about dating, and they're wanting to, because apparently they're not a couple. Kind of think they're a couple. You think they're a couple at first, and then they're like, nah.
No, I knew they weren't a couple. He wanted it.
Right. And
you
then,
could tell.
Right, and so he's talking about, hey, talk about celebrating Christmas. And she's like, I don't celebrate Christmas. And he's like, what, are you Jewish? And then she tells the saddest story ever.
That was messed up. That was so messed up.
Would you like to recap that?
Okay, listen. Let me tell you the story. Gather around. So her dad went missing right before Christmas, and it was super sad. And they called around, and they couldn't find him. And he was just gone. His picture should have been on a milk jug somewhere. Carton, whatever. I don't think they did that. So obviously they didn't do everything they could have, but whatever. And then their house started to smell bad. And they're like, oh, dang it. Something got stuck in the chimney. and I bet it's not Santa Claus because he doesn't get stuck because he's magical. And then they thought it was like a cat or a raccoon or something. And guess what? It was her dad, dressed like Santa Claus, who wanted to surprise them by coming down the chimney with gifts. I wonder if he realizes Santa Claus is magical and doesn't actually do that. Like he could, and then he comes out.
Right.
Like you can't do that. Anyway, so he broke his neck and he died and he got stuck there. And that's how she found out that Santa Claus wasn't real, which is really sad. I don't know why I'm laughing. Like that was the end of that sad story, was like, and that's how I found out Santa Claus wasn't real. It's like, oh, way to twist that knife.
Oh, maybe you don't want to show this to the younger kids.
I won't show it to the younger kids. Mickey knows.
Right, I know Mickey knows.
Yeah,
but
I won't show it to the younger kids.
You can be like, what do you mean Santa Claus isn't real?
Like, that's how I found out. Whatever. That's at the end of the movie. By then, they've gone on to something else.
It was funny. I saw it at 6 and still believed after. I believed Santa for another year or two. And
she's ridiculous. Santa Claus is real. He couldn't do it because he wasn't Santa Claus.
just what you were. That's why I was like, he wasn't Santa.
Oh, you don't have the magic, buddy. Come on.
So,
That's deep.
So
they do not have a tree in their future together.
So a famous urban legend is referenced in the film, which is the guy going down Justice Santa going down the chimney, and the speech proved to be controversial, and studio executives insisted that it would be removed because they felt it was too ambiguous to whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. It's kind of sad. I don't think it's funny at all.
The one that she told?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the ending of it's both kind of sad and funny.
It's kind of sad.
For her to be like, that's how I found out Santa wasn't real, was like, okay, that's a lot. That's really melodramatic.
So Joe Dante stubbornly refused to take it out, saying it represented the film as a whole, which had a combination of horrific and comedic elements. Spielberg didn't like the scene, but despite his creative control, he viewed Gremlins as Dante's project and allowed him to have it. So that's why we have it in there. There's a parody of the scene in Gremlins 2.
Oh, that's great.
So she revisits it, and instead of being Christmas, she starts to tell the story about the President's Day, and she's like, and he wore a hat, and she never gets to finish the story, so we don't know what happened to her, but some president or a guy dressed up like a president haunted her. So,
oh my gosh.
The film is also a basis for a novel of the same name by George Gipe. The novel offered an origin for Mogwais as in Gremlins. In its prologue, supposedly Mogwai were created as gentle, contemplative creatures by scientists on an alien world. However, it was discovered that their physiology was unstable. The end resulted in 1 in 10,000 Mogwai would retain their sweet, loving demeanor. The rest would be turned into these monsters. So Gizmo is the 1 in 10,000.
Yeah, he is.
The origin is unique to the novel, but there's some references in the Gremlins 2. But and the novelization of Gremlins 2. But I didn't read neither one of those, but I kind of want to now. So there's some apocrypha for you.
Cool, thanks.
Bar trivia.
Let's do it.
This movie has a lot of connections to Back to the Future.
I can see that.
The set for Kingston Falls is the same set as Back to the Future, the town in Back to the Future. So the both movies were filmed on the Universal Studio backlot. Frances Lee McCain, who played Billy's mother, also played Lorraine's mother, Stella, in Back to the Future. I went through her list. She also is the mother of Gordy LaChance in Stand By Me. She plays a lot of
When you're a mother, you just do it well.
You just do it well.
That's right.
Do you know what Mogwai means in Cantonese?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Fuzzy, furry, cute, adorable, cuddly, teddy bear.
None of those.
Demon?
Ooh, that's one.
Oh. Devilish demon?
Devil is another one.
Another one? Like there's multiple versions of this?
Yeah, Cantonese Mogwai means devil, demon, or gremlin.
Oh, or gremlin. That would have been the easy one to guess.
One of the studio notes that Joe Dante got from the studio was there were too many gremlins.
Oh, I wanted to ask you if you had the number of, because you know those were made.
Yeah, they were all puppets. I don't have the total number of puppets.
Okay, I was curious. Like when they did the movie theater scene, I was like, I wonder how many of those there were, or if they just layered them, like they did it in pieces, or if those were all in there.
Yeah, I have no idea on that one.
Okay, hold on.
Do some research on that. There we go. Some homework for you. Spielberg suggested cutting them all out and calling the movie People. Speaking of the animatronic Gremlins, Zach Galligan recounted in an interview that when the movie was made, so there's no CG at all, but the Gremlins were animatronic and costing them between $30,000 and $40,000. When everyone left the lot for the day, security would have everyone open their trunks of their cars to make sure they didn't have any stolen Gremlins in there.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's a for real thing.
What
happened to them now? Were they sold off in auctions? Are they in museums?
I think there's some in auctions, some of them in museums, there's some I know in private collections. I know Chris Hardwick and his wife have one.
That sounds about right.
So, at the start of this movie, the movie theater in town is showing A Boy's Life and Watch the Skies. These are the working titles for E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Interesting.
Mrs. Deagle named her cat.
She had a lot.
She named her cats after different kinds of currency, including kopeck, drachma, and dollar bill.
I was wondering about that because she called one of them dollar.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting.
Well, she's the richest lady in town, so.
Well, if I was the richest lady in town, I'd have a fancy chair too.
So little or no dialogue for Gremlins or Mogwai existed in the script. In addition to several instances of on-set rewrites, changing or adding to much of the script, the voiceovers were mostly ad-libs, repeating snippets and just performed dialogue in reaction to sound effects or environments. To this end, Howie Mandel recorded Gizmo lines phonetically for foreign dubs of the movie. So they made the English version, and then he took all he had in English, and he just looked at the phonetic translations for whatever, and he did all of them. So
he did all of them?
So he's like...
That's cool.
It's basically Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel did the same thing.
With Groot?
Yeah, with Groot. So he said I am Groot in all the languages.
That's cool.
So... when the story Gizmo was capable of singing and humming, Jerry Goldsmith, who did the music, wrote Gizmo's song, but Howie Mandel never sang it. Instead, a female member of Goldman's congregation was hired to sing Gizmo's song, and she had never worked in movies before.
Welcome.
Hoyt Axton, who played Randall Patzer, the inventor, followed the basic outline of the script, but he mostly improvised all his lines.
Okay, let's talk about him for a second.
Sure.
So his kid is dealing with all this stuff by himself. And it didn't seem like he ever really connected to know that it was happening. But then he just shows up in this department store, like just walks into the garden center right at the end.
Yeah, he psychic linked.
He just showed up. And then he was just like, Dad, your scarf. Not like, oh, hey, Dad, nice to see you. Just your scarf. How, though?
Well, I think he was driving by and saw the chaos and what was going on. You
know, there was chaos everywhere.
So he picked that chaos to check it out. I don't know.
I feel like if you're driving, okay, I'm gonna paint a scene for you. Okay, you ready? There's not gonna be any reds, so you're gonna be able to see it.
Woohoo!
Okay, so actually there are because there's a fire.
Boom.
So you're driving down the street. It's late at night. It's gonna be Christmas. It's Christmas Eve, which the kids got out on Christmas Eve, by the way. Let's just let that go. So you're driving down the street. You see what might be a little bit of ruckus inside this department store, but you can't tell because they're in the middle of the department store. And then a movie theater that has exploded and is on fire. And you're like, I'm going to go there. Because it looks like maybe something's going on in there. Maybe.
Safer than the exploded movie theater.
Anyway, I'm just saying. Like, he showed up and I was like, well, nice of you to show up. Mr. calls all the time. It doesn't get anybody. And then you just show up in the right place at the right time with your secret ashtray.
Right. Smokeless ashtray.
Yeah.
I like his inventions. They're some of them were kind of interesting. I liked his travel buddy. It was really big, but I liked his travel buddy. I've always liked that. Let's talk about the coffee maker that makes slime.
I didn't notice that. That must have been around the time that I was falling asleep.
There's a scene where they're having breakfast and so she's making. It's early and it's the next morning after they give Gizmo. And so they're in the kitchen and they're showing off the kitchen appliances. One of them is a coffee maker, but instead of making coffee, it makes this sludge.
Is it supposed to, or was it not working?
It's not working. So
okay.
It's like, but how bad does it have to be broken to turn coffee into sludge?
That must have been around the same time like he went to go use the eggs. And she was like, make the eggs.
Right.
And it was like,
okay,
so I just happened to miss the coffee.
The same. And then the one afterward, the juicer that didn't work.
I don't remember that one either.
Juice, and you made orange juice go everywhere. So
I do like that the thing she turned on for the gremlin was like those KitchenAid mixers,
right?
But like a blender.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just fascinating because it was like a KitchenAid mixer, but it was a blender bowl.
I like he was working downstairs when when Billy went to go talk to his dad in the basement, he's working on a hammer that hammers itself.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It was just interesting. I mean, he's got some great ideas. I was like, I don't know, his execution's great.
Yeah. He's a good salesman, though.
Oh, yeah, they did get to smoke.
Like that last time that he tried to make the call, then he was like, I see that you're a smoker. You just lit up a cigarette. It's hard not to notice. Let me show you what I got here.
I liked him. I've always liked Hoyt Axton. Hoyt Axton is a musician by trade, mostly. He was a country singer in Nashville. And so...
I didn't know that.
And had a bad cocaine problem for a while.
Oh. He was the one that's the dad in Home Alone, right?
No, he's not the dad in Home Alone.
I thought he was the dad in Home Alone.
No.
No, the dad in Home Alone. No, what is he? What am I thinking of? I don't know. I'll get back to you.
So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So gremlins can't get wet.
Right.
But they're walking around in the snow a lot.
That's a good question.
I didn't notice that. I've seen this movie lots of times. It never dawned on me. I was reading trivia, and there's a trivia note on it.
Well, you can walk in the snow and not get wet.
Oh.
But you can't stay in the snow and not get wet. Like, it depends on how long you're in the snow. But then again, they have bare feet, so there's nothing covering them.
Yeah, so I guess ice water doesn't work. There's a lot of inconsistencies, like the after midnight. What is it? Because technically it's always after midnight.
It is.
And they address this in like Gremlins too, because there's a whole scene where there's a security. Billy's trying to explain to the security that the whole building's got gremlins in it, and they're like, and then he talks about these rules, and they're like, so let me get right. So what if I have a gremlin in a plane and it goes across the international date line and it's midnight across? Does it automatically turn into one of these things? And it's like all these questions I never thought of. I just want to watch that cute little thing. Oh well.
Current time, midnight. Current time. Oh, sorry.
What about daylight savings time? What if you go across time zones?
Figure it out.
This is just a really film nerd thing. This is the last movie shot on Eastman Color 125T film stock, which was discontinued shortly after this movie finished.
Because they've ruined it. I'm just kidding.
In 2019, Warner Brothers successfully gained registered trademark of the name and the franchise. The same year, the studio parent company Warner Media greenlighted an animated series called Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai, and it's going to be on their upcoming streaming service HBO Max.
Okay.
So there was some trivia. I was going to do Screw, Marry, Kill, but there's not really a lot of choices.
Yeah.
I thought about it for a minute.
Wait,
I
got
was like,
this.
It's like a Billy.
We're gonna no. We're gonna make this fun and interesting. Okay.
Go for it.
Gizmo, Stripes. What the hell's the dog's name?
Barney.
And Barney. You go first.
Wow. Gotta kill the dog.
Well, that's super sad.
Straight up murder. Not into dogs.
You know what? I might end up killing the dog too.
Crap.
I'm marrying Gizmo, and me and Stripe will have a magical evening. What kind of monster are you to make me play this part of the game?
Okay, so no matter what, Gizmo is staying alive. I'd probably marry Gizmo.
Right.
Because he could take care of me. He could take care of me.
Can he?
We could cuddle. It's fine. I don't know. Barney's like a go-getter. So I think I'd probably screw Barney and kill Stripes. Because no. Like, I don't need blades thrown at me while we're doing it. You got to go.
It'd be interesting.
You're right. It would be. Nope. I'm out. That was fun.
What do you think the budget for this film was?
Oh, with all those little animatronic things? Okay, let's say...
And it's 1984.
Nah, that means nothing to me. I'll never learn what that means.
It will means if you think it's a high price, it's not as high as you would think.
Yeah. I'm going to say 33 million.
Exactly 1/3 of that, 11 million.
Interesting.
So it came out in 1984. Do you know when it came out in 1984?
Christmas?
No.
Summer?
Yes, it's a summer movie.
Christmas in July?
It's June 10th.
Close enough.
There's another famous movie that came out on that day too.
Home Alone.
Home Alone's 1990s.
Okay, hold on. No, I give up. I can't play these games.
I know, like
I stopped for a second and thought about it. And I was
You
like,
were
you
like-
can literally never think of that.
right, and like you looked really determined, and I'm like,
Every time
Right.
you're like, guess, and I'm like, I got this time. No,
Ghostbusters came out the same day.
Could have guessed that.
Crazy 1994. It's opening weekend. What do you think?
Okay, so I think it at least made how much it costs.
So it cost $11 million. How much do you think
So
it made
let's
every
see.
weekend?
$13 million.
Very, very close. 12 million, 12.5.
Oh, look at me. I'm on fire.
What do you think? What do you think? What its worldwide gross was?
$50 million.
153 million.
I was so close that one time too.
153, which means it finished second in the 1984. Other films of 1984 that did better was those only one because it finished number 2. So Ghostbusters was number 1 that year, followed by Gremlins, then Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Star Trek 3, and then Beat Street.
Okay.
So that was for that weekend. It finished third for the year, finished 2 for the weekend, but third for the year. So, yay! That was Gremlins. So, did you like it?
Yes, I liked Gizmo. Gizmo was my favorite. He made me happy. It doesn't really translate very well. Like, they're obviously fake creatures.
Okay, but I mean, can you have? I mean, being the child of the area you grew up in, is it harder for you to disengage your sense of disbelief in it?
So, I think it was harder for me with the inconsistencies in the movie, like because it took me out of it. Like with
what?
the eating and the not getting wet, and
so you really focused on those rules.
Well, yeah, because it's like you can't feed them after a certain time. It's
That
like,
makes
but
sense,
when
but-
can you feed them?
That makes sense for you because you're a rule follower.
Yeah,
you have trouble.
yeah.
You can't break rules.
No, I can't. I have a hard time with that.
And so you stressed really hard on the rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's 3. You got 3 of them, and
Right.
they failed. They failed really
I
bad.
can see that.
I also thought it was really funny that they killed the professor in a way that didn't show that like he was killed.
Originally, he was supposed to have a bunch of hypodermic needles in his face, and
I like it was just one in his butt cheek.
right. They were like, "Oh, that's too violent for a kid."
Yeah, you could tell that they eased it up in some spots,
Right.
like where it was right there on the edge, and then they were like, let's just flip him over and put one in the butt. It's fine, done. Like he might just be like knocked out.
Right.
He might not be dead. Like there was a lot of that where
See,
it's like
yeah,
they might not be dead.
but Billy didn't check on him or anything. He just was like, "All right, that's a dead guy."
And they
Moved
like
on.
went to make the phone call, and then like the hand was like,
right.
yeah, it made me jump. I'm not gonna lie,
Well, it's supposed to.
I jump easy.
I mean, it's a kid's horror film.
I know.
I mean,
I'm an adult, but that's fine. I still jumped.
No. I'm not saying that you I didn't mean that as a dish. You no.
It's okay.
I mean,
I can take it.
Its job is to be a horror film. It's got scary tropes. It's just
It does.
it doesn't it doesn't go to the extreme though.
I think the other part that I liked that was horrific in nature was when the tree went out, but then you saw the eyes glow from the tree.
Right.
That was neat. I thought that
really-
was done really well.
So in the cult meeting, I'm trying to find these, and I know they're on YouTube, and I'll share them when I find them on YouTube. So when I was a kid, when this movie came out, you know how sometimes restaurants get like a toy tie-in, like McDonald's. will
Like
get
McDonald's, yeah.
So Hardee's got the tie-in for Gremlins,
Okay.
and they didn't have toys, they had storybook records, and you had storybook records, so records and a book, and so you would listen to the story of Gremlins and flip through the book.
Okay.
'Cause this is before your
The
time.
toys have come down a lot since then.
Right. But it went for 5 weeks because there were 5 parts of the story. So every week you'd have to, and you have to get like, it was very specific. You had to get like a breakfast thing.
Okay.
And so you get your breakfast thing, and then you can get your album, your little story record and book. And so I have a set in storage. I have my original set in storage.
That's cute.
Because I loved it. I mean,
That sounds right.
We'll talk about this in the cult meeting, but I was really obsessed with Gremlins for years. I had a Gizmo backpack that had like, it was blue and it was denim, but Gizmo was painted.
Was this that toy that like the oh my gosh, there was like a little toy.
No, it's not a Furby.
But that looks like Gizmo.
It does. Furby.
How did I just think of that?
Furby's
intense.
Furby's and
I had to get that
Mogwai
out of
look.
my body.
I had a stuffed Mogwai that squeaked.
Which one came first?
Oh, Gremlins. Furbies in the 90s.
You say that like I'm going to know that right away. I'm not Rain Man. They stole that from Gizmo. Okay, that is Gizmo.
I just like how you know Rain Man. I'm kind of impressed.
Okay. I might know that as what the saying means and not exactly what it stands for. I know it's a film, and I know why people say it. I have not seen that. Okay.
Oh, you should see Rain Man. Rain Man's very, very good.
Okay, thank you for, again, pointing out something else. Continue.
I was going to be impressed that you had seen Rain Man, but now I have to
thanks.
show you Rain Man.
Thanks.
Rain Man's good.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we'll catch you up on it.
Yeah.
But so I want to talk about the Hardy stuff next week at the cult meeting because I think it'll be fun. And plus, we'll have Stephanie thoughts on the movie. And let us know your thoughts. Feel free to make comments in the
yes, please.
The post and or talk about it when we ask the cultist. Do you have a favorite gremlin? What would you do if you had a Mogwai?
I would not feed him after midnight, get him wet, or show him to the sunlight. Any lights,
Any
really?
light?
Mood lighting all the time. Little cuddle buddy. What if I drooled in my sleep? What if we were cuddling and I drooled on him?
Then you would have baby Mogwai.
Oh, and they were dicks. That would be terrible.
See, my question is this: how do Mogwais drink? They're questions.
Well, I wonder if it's just the outside of them can't get wet.
I don't know because they eat food and there's liquid in food. I mean, most things are made of water. So
I feel like you're overthinking this a little bit.
I am. No, it's just you can't help it.
I know.
They're really weird. I mean, they work for the moment and watching the movie as a kid. I was like rules, and then was watching because whatever.
You were a kid.
Yeah,
you were like, yeah, I heard the rules.
The rules, God. But
there were 3 of them. Leave me alone.
Right. And
I didn't even think about the snow thing though.
I didn't neither.
It's bothered me since you brought it up.
Yeah, 38 years ago, I saw this.
He followed footprints in the snow. Oh my gosh.
So there's that. Yeah, so you couldn't quite get into it. So
no, I mean it was good. It was a cute little movie. But do I need to watch it again? No. No, I'm okay.
I own it, so I'll watch it again.
You're like, I'm gonna watch it again. It's fine.
Because I have the Blu-ray box set that has 1 and 2 in it.
Okay.
We may not do 2 on the show, but I may show you 2 one afternoon because it's ridiculous.
Let me know.
Because it is ridiculous. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Well, this is
Medion. My bad.
This is Scotty saying this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours.
Good night.
Good night. Or good day. Good morning.
Good day. Good morning. Good morning.
Mogwai.
Thank you for listening to the Mopcast Network.